I'm just making a really kind of a quick video. I think this is a really interesting way to ask this question, because how you think about this comes to bear on the question itself. Who changed the Sabbath? I got a bunch of people answered, which is cool. Jesus or / God, Paul, the church. No one. Now, Adventists will ask that question like, who changed it? And we say, well, Constantine kind of put a flag historically in 321 by the church, what the church said in their decrees or whatever. And people say, oh, that's so stupid, because Christians, it's like you could ask the question, who made it okay to pray to statues? And then you show some decree where they said you could pray to saints. I mean, this is a hypothetical, but whether you think it's idolatry or not, let's just say you do. Just think of the thought. It's a thought experiment, but it's just like, okay, or let's say it this way. Like, let's say 10 years from now, 80% of Christians accept gay marriage. Oh, there was always Christians who accepted gay marriage. But like right now, most Christians don't accept gay marriage, let's say. Let's say there was a really influential figure and the church was unified in some way, and some guy declares at some pivotal moment in history, there's some huge debate and it sways a bunch of Christians or puts it into law that you have to marry same-sex couples. And then 20 years from now, when 90% of Christians accept gay marriage, some guy goes, yeah, that moment, that moment when there was a huge shift and a declaration that it was legal, like that's when gay marriage became accepted. And someone goes, oh, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Christians thought there was Christians who thought gay marriage was acceptable or should be accepted before that. That's so dumb. You can't put a historical marker in there. It's like, dude, shut up. There was always Christians worshiping idols. Therefore, when a certain practice became accepted, you can't point to that. That's dumb. That's just, it was. So here's the question. When was the Sabbath changed? Oh, Christians kept Sunday as the Sabbath. Well, before Constantine in 321? Sure. Yeah, maybe. You have to show that, I guess. But what are you gonna plant that in? I mean, if you're sola scriptura, you have to go to the text and make an argument for it. When did Sunday become? Well, it never. The correct answer is no one changed the Sabbath. Why? Because it's not changed. No one changed the Sabbath. But an Adventist could say, well, the church changed it. The correct answer is nobody changed it. You can't change it. The Sabbath is the day God rested. So then the question becomes, well, how did Sunday, why do so many people historically in Protestant, Catholic, the popes, why do they say the Sabbath and they mean Sunday? Oh, you dumb idiot Adventist. That's the Lord's Day. Well, your Pope calls it the Sabbath all the time, and Protestants got it from somewhere. Sunday's Sabbath. They call it Sabbath. Oh, well, that's just a misnomer. And it's like, well, we don't disagree. Adventists, Sabbath keepers don't disagree with you. It's because nobody actually changed it. It's not changed. Why do they call it Sabbath? That's the question. Sunday, people. Why do people just refer to it as the Sabbath? Why does that exist? So who changed it? Oh, you idiot. Nobody, get the point. Nobody changed it, dummy. We keep the Lord's, dude, it's a historical question. We agree with you. Nobody changed it. That's the point. Oh, and so you know what? That fits really well, that this woman riding the beast would seek to change God's times and law, or seek to change times and laws. It's obviously talking about, like, how is the Antichrist described? The man of sin, the man of lawlessness. And he is described as changing something to do with time and law. And if you call Adventists crazy, when all the Protestants thought the Roman Church was an apostate because of her changing of the gospel, what the gospel is. I mean, you're free to do that, but don't call us crazy. Unless you're going to call Protestantism crazy. And if you're going to do that and you're going to go with the church, just remember, if you accept what the church did historically, especially the Western Roman Church, I'm wondering, can someone be a saved Christian who's a Catholic? Obviously, yes. I'm talking about a system. Look, if you can't agree with, if you disagree with me, I don't know why you're not Catholic. Like, people get so offended. You can't say that. Well, Catholics aren't lost. I didn't say that. I said the system. If you're not a Catholic, then you disagree with the Catholics. And it's like, oh, the Pope's not the Antichrist. You're crazy. You're just a weirdo conspiracy theorist. It's like, look, no. If the Pope isn't the Antichrist, according to Scripture, then why aren't you a Catholic? I don't see middle ground here. Think about this. If the Pope's claims about himself, when you read their documents, he literally speaks for Jesus on earth. He's the leader of the visible church. And when he speaks for God, for the sake of the church. Now, if that's a legitimate office, then why aren't you a Catholic? If it's not a legitimate office, okay, think a lot. It's like, everybody take a breath. Stop judging me. I'm asking a serious question. That's a logical question, okay? Either the Pope does speak for God as the leader of the church, okay? Maybe that's true, okay? Calm down. Just follow me here closely, carefully. I'm not being overzealous or conspiratorial here. I'm asking a simple question. Is the Pope's office legitimate? Okay, what do they claim? I don't have any sources. I guess I should have brought some, but it's like, this is true. The Pope is the leader of the visible church. You can watch Catholic channels on this. Calls other people schismatic if they don't accept the authority of the Pope as the sole monarch of the church, who speaks for Jesus. He's vicarious filii. He's the vicar of Christ. What do you think that means? He's the leader of the visible church, the single office, the man. Okay, that's either true. Now, if it is true, why aren't you a Catholic? If it isn't true, how can you not say he fits the description of the Antichrist? Because the Antichrist sits in the temple of God, saying that he is God. Look, there's really no middle ground here. He either is at least an Antichrist, because the claims of it's not my claims. It's not my claims. It's their claims. Because of what they claim, the position of the Bishop of Rome is, the head of the visible church on earth that speaks for God, that's either true, and he does do that, or that's a false claim. If it's a false claim, by definition, that would be Antichrist, which means speaking in the place of Jesus falsely. So it's either true or false. They're the ones making the claims. Now, I say it's false. I don't accept it. It's a false claim. He is the Antichrist because he is the leader of the Roman church, which is a woman, because the church is a woman. And historically, she killed people against what Jesus said to do in Matthew 13. Now, if you believe the Bible doesn't actually predict history, that's fine, but he fits the criteria. The woman riding the beast, and the fourth beast was Rome. If you believe Daniel predicted Jesus coming, and it did, it's a verification. The New Testament seeks to show that Jesus quoted Daniel. Okay? It's very simple. The woman rides the fourth beast. Read Daniel 7 and Revelation 13. It's not hard. It's historical fact because it connects to the fact of Daniel's predictive prophecy. The text tells us the kingdoms, and Rome was the empire when Jesus came the first time and set up the new covenant. Okay? And it says the woman, harlot woman, the prostituting woman, rides the fourth beast, and that is the Roman Empire if Jesus is the Messiah. So it's not that difficult. And so there is no third option. The Pope either does speak for God and it's a legitimate position, or it's not. If you're not Catholic, then you have to say biblically that that position is Antichrist. You can love the Pope, you can pray for the Pope, you can love Catholics, you can think Catholics are saved, okay? And still say he's Antichrist, by the way. It's not just a polemical, I'm not just off the hinge here. That's just reality. It's just what words mean. It's people like, they don't like the tension there. It's just the facts. So obviously the answer to who changed the Sabbath is nobody, because you can't. You can only seek to change it, but it is what it is. So no one is the right answer. And please, if you think I'm a nutball and please make an argument. Tell me, help me, smart people who think I'm just being polemical. I made an argument. Tell me why I'm wrong. And then tell me why you disagree, and I'll tell you why you're a Catholic. Or, I mean, can you think the Pope speaks for Jesus and not come under his authority? Is that a thing? I mean, Catholics, you should agree with me about this. Again, I'll say it one last time. This is just making factual claims. Either the Pope speaks for Jesus as the leader of the visible church, or he's making a false claim. Or it's not true. It's either true or it's not. There's no middle ground. The Pope either has a legitimate claim as the leader of the church, speaking for God, for the church, or he does not. It's not, you're not half pregnant. That position either is a legitimate position, and if it is, and the Pope holds it, then he is who he says he is. And how we could not listen to the man who speaks for Jesus on earth over the visible church and say we're Christian and ignore what Jesus is telling the church through his dude, through his appointed seat, then you're apostate from the Christian faith. Or the Pope's office is not legitimate, and then that is the literal definition of Antichrist. I'm not the Pope saying I'm speaking for God. I'm just laying it out factually. Disagree. If you don't want to take it seriously, fine, but don't tell me I'm crazy. I just believe what the words mean.